Okay, let's dive right into this explainer. We're breaking down the 2026 AI coding war. Look, the software engineering landscape is shifting so incredibly fast right now. And honestly, understanding these tools, it's not just optional anymore, it is an absolute requirement. Today, we're going to decode the three absolute heavyweights dominating the conversation and show you exactly how to optimize your workflow so you aren't wasting your time or your money.
You know, you might have actually seen this viral quote floating around Reddit or Hacker News recently. It says, Copilot is what your manager picks, Claude Code and Cursor are what engineers actually pick. And wow, does that perfectly capture the stakes today? It just highlights this massive disconnect between top-down enterprise mandates and what's actually happening on the ground with engineers. And why should you care? Because if you pick the wrong tool for your specific workflow, you are literally leaving hours of productivity on the table every single week. You end up working way harder, not smarter.
So here's our agenda for today's explainer. We'll start with the three core philosophies, then break down costs and use cases, look at some real-world coding scenarios, and finally, wrap up with how to build the ultimate AI setup. Let's get into it. Starting with part one, the three philosophies. And the key thing to remember here is that they aren't just competitors, they are entirely different paradigms. Yeah, the absolute biggest misconception out there is that these tools are all competing in the exact same category. They really aren't. First up, we've got GitHub Copilot, which we can basically call the plugin. This is the one that pioneered the whole space back in 2021, and today it's definitely the least disruptive option. It just layers smart autocomplete, an AI chat, and an agent mode right on top of your existing setup. You literally don't have to change your IDE. Whether you're a VS Code user, JetBrains, Visual Studio, Copilot just sits right there ready to help. It's incredibly safe and it's totally familiar.
Next on the list is Cursor. I want you to think of this one as the editor. Cursor isn't just some plugin you tack on. It actually replaces your IDE entirely. Since it's a fork of VS Code that's been rebuilt from the ground up completely around AI, the AI isn't just an afterthought here. It literally is the editor. It gives you this super polished all-in-one experience. We're talking inline diffs where you can just visually accept or reject changes right there in your code, plus a composer mode for editing multiple files at once. For a lot of devs, this has quickly become their ultimate daily driver.
And finally, we have Claude Code, or as I like to call it, the terminal agent. Now, this tool totally ditches the IDE. The whole thing runs right inside your terminal. So instead of just prompting for code suggestions, you're essentially handing things off to a specialist contractor. You give it a task, and it just autonomously goes to work, reading your codebase, writing across multiple files, running commands, and even fixing its own errors until the job is completely done. Now look, if you're terrified of a command line, this might induce a little panic at first. But once it clicks, developers are saying it literally feels like having a senior engineer on call 24/7.
And just look at this stat. It brilliantly illustrates Claude Code's absolutely explosive rise. In just 9 months, its usage share among professional developers rocketed from a mere 3% to a massive 18%. Actually, it even accounts for roughly 4% of all public GitHub commits right now. We've literally never seen a developer tool grow at this kind of blistering speed before, and what that tells us is that autonomous, terminal-based AI engineering, that is going to be a massive part of our future. Moving on to Section 2, Cost and Use Case. We're going to uncover the real pricing breakdown here and see exactly where these tools shine. Now, sticker prices rarely tell the full story, right? So let's break down this table, comparing their starting monthly costs alongside their primary use cases. Copilot looks like the cheapest entry point at just $10 a month, making it perfect for enterprise teams that just need a safe, low-friction entry. Then you have Cursor sitting at $20 a month, which is really targeted at individual developers who want that super polished daily driver experience. And Claude Code, it matches that $20 a month, but its primary use case is specifically built for complex, multi-file tasks and autonomous engineering. This breakdown really shows you exactly who each tool is built for.
But wait, there is kind of this hidden reality behind Cursor's pricing. While the sticker price clearly says $20, Cursor's own documentation actually admits that daily agent users burn through their token quotas incredibly fast. Heavy users are typically spending between $60 to $100 a month. So if you're a power user, you absolutely have to budget for that real token burn, not just the base subscription price.
And keep in mind, even Copilot's super predictable $10 plan is evolving. In June of 2026, GitHub actually shifted Copilot over to usage-based billing too. But honestly, here's the ultimate takeaway on cost. Do not just optimize for the cheapest plan. Optimize for the tool that is going to save you the most hours. Because look at it this way. Even just one single extra productive hour a week easily pays for any of these tools entirely.
All right, Section 3, Real-World Coding Scenarios. Let's test these tools in the crucible of daily development.
Let's transition from theory to practice here. It's easy enough to compare feature lists, but let's see exactly who wins when we drop them into specific, highly relatable scenarios that you probably face every single day. For the first scenario, say you just need quick, low-friction inline autocomplete while you're writing out a new feature. For that, GitHub Copilot remains completely unbeatable. It is just so fast and accurate. And for the second scenario, navigating strict enterprise security and handling team PR reviews, Copilot wins that one hands down too. If your manager controls the budget and your team is already living on GitHub, Copilot is without a doubt the undisputed king of the enterprise.
However, when we start talking about multi-file refactoring, scale suddenly matters completely. If you're tackling a medium React component refactor across, say, 5 files or so, Cursor is the clear winner there. Its inline diff view makes visually reviewing those changes totally effortless. But, and this is a big but, if you are staring down a massive architectural refactor touching 30+ files, Claude Code absolutely dominates. Its massive context window and that terminal autonomy let it handle scale in a way that the other two, honestly, just can't touch yet.
Finally, Section 4, the ultimate AI setup. This is where we see a real paradigm shift.
So, we've compared the costs, we've looked at the scenarios, but here is the real secret. All those developers stuck in those endless Reddit debates arguing over which single tool is the absolute best, they are actually falling behind. Because the real answer here is that you shouldn't be choosing just one. There is no single tool that wins everywhere. To truly unlock your productivity, you absolutely need a multi-tool approach.
The ultimate hybrid workflow actually looks a lot like this. First, you set up Cursor, or Copilot, if you're in a strict enterprise environment or on a tight budget, and you make that your base layer. This becomes your daily workshop where you knock out 80% of your fast iterative coding. Then, you bring in Claude Code specifically to act as your specialist contractor. When you hit that massive, incredibly complex 30-file refactor that requires some really deep reasoning, you just spin up Claude Code right in the terminal and let it do all the heavy lifting autonomously. It's a total game changer.
So as you look to optimize your workflow for the rest of 2026, you've got to stop asking which tool is the outright winner. The only question you should really be asking yourself now is, which combination makes you dangerous? Take a hard look at your daily tasks, match them up to the different paradigms we broke down today, and start building your ultimate tech stack. Thanks so much for joining us for this explainer today, and until next time, keep optimizing.